Everyone, welcome to Butcher and the Beard. I'm David Butcher. That's John Shanley, and we are live
Good
on
morning,
Kick
our
right
first
now.
live show.
Our first live show.
We're streaming live.
We are on Kick right
Yep,
now.
streaming live on,
Yep,
recording it for those who couldn't listen right this minute because
yep.
they had a nice, maybe they stayed up late watching the late games last night. A couple of good ones. Let's see, Lakers beat the Spurs, Nuggets and Trailblazers. Warriors continuing to win. They're hot. Warriors are keep going. Bucks beat the Timberwolves. That was a huge win for them. Timberwolves obviously really good at home. They're the best team in the West, and Milwaukee finally got some stops and played some defense and got a 112-107 hard-earned victory, showing that Milwaukee should be at the top of the food chain with the NBA teams. So big win for the Heat over the Pelicans, and there
Yeah,
was
that
a
was big.
brawl in that. Dave,
Yeah,
you
there
watched that,
was.
right? How
Yes.
did that?
It was a foul. It is, but at the end of the day, people are gonna do that. Like we talked previously, like 3 seconds ago, is like, hey, you stick up for your teammate no matter what. You don't want your big man to get hurt. Zion Williams, a humongous
Right.
piece to that
Yeah, no,
organization for sure.
yeah.
So
He did, like, I saw the play, and yeah, it was a foul. And then I think, like, because the guy grabbed him, and I think he kind of slipped, but that's why he fell. So it looked a little bit worse than it was. I
yeah,
think live when it happened, and like Zion just walked away like he's supposed to, and then his teammates, stuck up for him because that's just part of the deal. Like if you're playing and you feel like your best player is getting attacked or someone's playing doing physical, then it's your job as a teammate to stick up for them because it's a little bit more prevalent in hockey as we were talking about earlier, because hockey has enforcers. So, like, if you have a guy that's incredibly skilled, he's your best player, your best scorer, and then in the NHL, they're like, okay, well, we're gonna zero in on him. You have enforcers to make sure that doesn't happen. In the NBA, it's less people on the team, so your role players, part of their role is to protect your big man. You know what I mean? And that means that you got to get involved because somebody's being physical with them. That happens a lot in the NBA, and yes, it's a brotherhood, and yes, it's all this other stuff. And a lot of the star players really don't kind of get into it. But I just kind of find it funny that Jimmy Butler was in the middle of that scrimmage, like, hey, no, 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 no. You know, he was almost kind of trying to break it up, and he was trying to say, like, hey, look, it wasn't, what it seemed. It wasn't intentional. He wasn't trying to hurt your guy. And then whatever, things happen, and in the heat of the moment, you're I mean, I've never played professionally, but we've gotten
yeah,
into tussles on the
yeah,
softball field, on the baseball field, in a bowling alley. You know what I mean? Like emotions are running high. You're
yeah.
competitive. You want to win. Things like weird things happen sometimes, and then people want to be tough, or people want to just in the heat of the moment, you lose your cool, and you just things happen. But
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
especially in baseball, like with like you know if somebody slides in raw or like hits the in softball it was if you hit the ball up the middle and tried to hurt the pitcher, like that would be like then your team would start doing it to the other guy. Like it was just you stick up for your teammates and stuff like that. But anyway, yeah, these things happen. There'll probably be some suspensions. Probably not too bad, but
Yeah, they had
either
four
way, big
players.
win for the Heat. Like now we're post All Star, so now these guys are really jockeying for position. My Knicks got lucky with a win. Not lucky. I mean, they earned it. But Philly is again. They're as beat up. If they're even in worse condition than the Knicks. Like Philly lost their superstar in Embiid, and the rest of their role players just aren't quite as good as the Knicks role players. You know what I mean? Like they're secondary guys. So now, we still have Brunson, and Brunson is, was the best player on the floor, for that game. And, that might not always be the case. We got the Celtics tonight. That's going to be a hard game.
Yeah,
Because, again, Celtics are the best team in the league, and we can, you know, what are we going to do? We might lose. We're probably going to lose, but I'm going to hope we win. We're playing out of position. We basically lost our starting front court.
yeah,
So, 3 out of your 5 starters are gone, and it's your size. And we have guys that are stepping up, that haven't given an opportunity and they're playing really well. but they're playing really well against other role players and other guys that aren't as good. So now when they're going to go up against the Celtics, let's see if they have another big game. And they might. But,
Yeah.
in the long run, they're not, that's the difference between superstars and guys that, can step up and do something. Like, it's like, okay, you can step up and do something one game, but can you do that every single game,
Yeah,
And
for sure.
that's what happens. So, it is what it is. You go through the season. We just hope that some of these guys get healthier. And like Randall came out and said that he's not sure what's going to happen. He has to think of his career and like because I think there are people telling him he has to have surgery now. He's hoping he doesn't have to. He wants to get back there and play, but like
Yeah.
Randall's not the best interviewer sometimes because he doesn't really tell the whole thing. He just has a couple of lines and he's just like, so it's almost like he's coming off sounding a little selfish. But I've known Randall for watching him and following him for years. Like he's saying that other people, including I'm sure his home people, like his wife, saying, look, if this I know you want to get back and play, but if you hurt yourself and cost you another 5 years in the NBA, that your longevity and your
Yeah,
career is has to be at
for
stake.
sure. Yeah.
I don't think that honestly. He's listening to his body, and he's a young dude. He's 29 years old. He's in the
Yeah.
fucking greatest shape in the world. He's played through aches and pains before, so in his mind, he's just like, this is not going to affect me
Yeah.
in the long run. I don't care what these fucking doctors are telling me. And that's when and this, like if you're sick or whatever, like you have to have that your doctors are going to tell you this and your doctors are going to tell you
Yeah.
that, and you can't be the type of person who just listens to everything that they say. That's why you get second opinions and all this other
Yeah.
stuff, and you get as much information as possible. But in the end of the day, you know yourself, you know your body, you know
Yeah.
what you can go through. And, I'll tell you what, if I'm Julius Randle and I'm saying to myself, okay, maybe they're telling me that it's going to cost me whatever. I don't think that's the case. But I have a chance to actually maybe compete for a championship if I can do the things that I want to be, that I
Yeah.
can still do. It's not on his shooting hand, so where it's gonna affect him is if he's setting screens for people because that's that contact,
Yeah.
and that could further damage it if it's damaged already. That's where the problem is, and the
Yeah.
banging on the boards and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But like he shoots with the other hand, and so like offensively
He's
doing
okay.
that, where the bumps and bruises is the longevity. So I
Yeah.
think he's like I saw a video today of him working out, and he looks in great shape. But again, it's going to see how the contact affects it, and then how it affects it in the long run. And then I'm sure he's a smart guy, and he'll he'll look at the data and he'll look at what the doctors tell him, and like he'll make an educated decision. And even
Yeah.
though it might break his heart that he has to have surgery and he'll be out for the rest of this season.
Yeah.
He'll just have to grin and bear. Believe me, there are a lot of superstars, especially in the NBA,
Yep.
that unfortunately injuries hit. Look at Joel Embiid. The
Yep.
guy's never had last year was his first healthy playoffs. The guy's been in the league 10 years and he's never been past the second round, but a lot of times he wasn't available for that.
Yeah.
Patrick Ewing, the dude, they're one of their best chances to win a title. He tore his Achilles in the Eastern Conference Finals, and he was not available in the finals.
Yeah.
It's a shame, but it just happens, and that's just part of the sports, and there's nothing we can do about that. So, whatever happens, honestly, as a Knicks fan, if Randall is done, they don't have a shot. Like
Yeah.
they could still make it possibly to the second round based on matchups,
What's up,
but
Mr. Fish?
most likely they'll fall. Most likely they'll fall to a lower seed and be ousted in the first round, which is a shame because, again, if healthy, they could really compete. But then
Yeah.
again, that happens. Like last year, the Clippers had an incredible team last year, and what happened? They all got hurt, so then they end up losing in the first round. So
Yeah.
you know, I've said this before. The NBA, it's a gauntlet, man.
It really
A
is.
lot of times that go the furthest are the healthiest, and the Heat. they lost some pieces, but they had Jimmy Butler and they
Yeah.
lost and they had Bam Adebayo. So like their core pieces, their best players were still there.
Yeah.
I mean, I know Hero was kind of like that, but he's still
Yeah.
your third best player, and you can manage. But like literally with the Knicks, you lost your number 2 and number 3, and your number 1 defensive anchor. So like,
Yeah.
you just it's almost impossible to
Yeah, Matt
overcome.
said the
Like
Miami Heat are going to win the NBA championship. So, hey, I believe them. I believe them. Hey, if they're gutting out like that, they are a rough team like
Miami.
we always talk about. And they are
Hey, you know
there.
what? They got the pieces. You never
They
know.
got the pieces for
You
sure.
never
You're right,
know.
Mr. Fish.
I don't know, but hey,
No, we
you
never
can't
know.
really
We never know
doubt
until it
Jimmy.
happens. But like we always talk about, the Heat are super physical, and they're gonna beat you up, just like they said in the game. Like they're not brawling because that's the way the Heat play. They're super
Porker.
physical. Oh, the cat wants to be part of the chat. What's up, everyone? We have like
Cat,
4 or 5 people in the
I'm
chat,
in
so
charge now.
yeah, we got some people in,
Yeah,
man. How's everyone doing today out there? You know, man, this is live today, man. Like, so when
I know.
when we put this on YouTube, they'll be like, "Oh, you're
Porker's
talking to
like, I'll
people."
be live. You can be live on my lap.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, if anybody wants to talk, right into the chat. Let's go. We're just starting. We had like 4 or 5 people
Look,
in the
who's gonna
chat,
win?
so let's go.
No.
The cat's like, "No, I want to be on the show, not on your lap." But yeah, no, man. And so yeah, if anybody's got any questions, any things you want us to discuss, hey, that's the good thing about being live.
Someone watching?
Write it in the
Yeah.
chat. Write it in the chat. So, but yeah, no, man. I
Oh
think the Heat
man.
have a really
All right,
good possibility.
NHL.
NHL, yeah, man.
Lightning play today. Oh, we got a big game. We got a big day today. Lightning do not play
Yeah,
today.
good because they can't seem to fuck it. Vasky.
Oh no, they do. They play the
Oh,
Islanders
damn it.
at 2 o'clock. Saturday's the days where they have like
Yeah, the
games
early
every
games.
hour.
Yeah, which is
Rangers play the Flyers. The Rangers have tied their third longest winning streak in history.
wow.
And whenever the Rangers, start doing shit, for their history, it's something special because they're
Yeah,
an original 6 team, so they've obviously, been around for 100 years. I think they have now won 9 in a row, which is pretty damn impressive in
yeah,
hockey. More than anything, like hockey is.
dude, it's
I
tough,
mean,
man.
we talk about like how all these professional athletes are in incredible shape and this and that, but like the stamina that it takes to be a hockey player is incredible.
Yeah,
Like to skate, like I probably couldn't skate. I can't even skate to begin with. Like I just
yeah.
can't ice
I
skate
fall on my knees all the
or roller
time. I
skate or
hate it.
anything like that. But the stamina that these guys have to be in, like the cardio and all this other stuff, to be on the ice for 5 minutes and exuding all that energy, racing up and down
Yeah,
the
the wings.
the rink, and then
Yeah,
people, and then shooting and this and that. Like it doesn't matter how good you are. Like if you're on the ice, and like they'll show you, like if you're watching a game, oh, this guy's been on the ice for almost 6 minutes. Like he's probably like ready to
6
fucking
minutes,
collapse.
no, he'll fall on the floor, dude. After 2 minutes, they're already got their hands on their knees. Matt was saying that the Lightning have forgotten how to win. He also said, "Are we ready for baseball with spring?" I'm kind of disappointed with
Yeah,
baseball right now because of the fact of Fanatics coming in there being such a big prime example of what the future holds. You've seen their jerseys lately;
right.
they're like see through, and their like quality is bad. Fanatics is a huge company like that. They should have just pretty much stamped whatever the MLB was doing prior to that and moved on to that. Like what the heck are you
Yeah,
thinking? Like to make the material, like you make jerseys and you make prime example of memorabilia, and that's what you're going to be sitting there doing is to like declass what the MLB looks like now. So I'm kind of disappointed with
yeah.
Fanatics right now because Fanatics is huge. They're taking over the sport world as it is, and I don't even know how they got the licensing to be the people to make.
Money.
Yeah, like other than that, but my gosh, like that's what you want to do. I'd rather keep it with Nike or Reebok. The people that have been making jerseys for how long now? You know what I mean? The ones that have been doing.
Yeah.
Fanatics wants to get on
Jerseys
there.
are so damn expensive now anyway. Like
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
tough. Like I
I
have
buy
the
them.
same Ranger jersey that I've had since I think I bought it back in 1990.
If you want a
Because
cheap jersey,
it's
you go to
original, original white. It has no name on the back, so I never got old. I
yeah.
used to wear it to every game. I had the season tickets. Um, you know, it's just great. I still wear it every now and then. I would like an updated jersey, but they're so damn expensive.
Yeah, you want
I
to
got my
you
girlfriend
you let me know. I
as a
get you
Banachand
one.
jersey.
They're about $25 for stitched
Oh,
jerseys.
okay.
Yeah,
All right. Yeah.
yeah.
We'll
Because I
we'll
gotta
we'll
buy
do
some
that too.
Dolphin
Yeah.
jerseys. Yeah, I use AliExpress or the other one, but they do jerseys. They sometimes they come a little bit different, but they're sewn perfectly and they're gorgeous. I have jerseys I bought from those websites for years, and they're not
Okay.
authentic, but they're sewn, so
They're
that's
authentic.
authentic. Yeah, they're
But,
sewn though. Yeah, they have the same logo. They even come with the same tag that you get. They just can't sell them as authentic because they don't come from the thing. But yeah, you're right, Mattfish. You are right, man. It is terrible to see through pants. Yeah, like you're gonna be playing and you're gonna be like
yeah.
running and you're gonna be able to see the bottom of their like jerseys tucked in. Like
Yeah.
what? Like what? But yeah, so I'll get. Yeah, you talk to me about jersey. Yeah, they're $25. It's $50 usually because you have to ship for 25 because of where they ship from. But if you buy enough of
Right.
them, if everyone's buying stuff, then it doesn't really pertain
Right.
to that. But other than that, man, like I don't know, the Fanatics needs to come up with something better than that because, like you were saying, you've been sitting with jerseys for fucking 30 years because they're just so expensive. If you don't buy it off the black market, pretty much of like the sports stuff, you know. If you're sitting
Yep.
here thinking, like, you know what's funny is I can go on eBay right now and buy a custom jersey, which is what they're called because they're sewn, but they're not the what's name, or I can go on these websites that are $25 that are custom, but they're sewn with the real patches, with the NFL logo, with the jersey, with the Nike swoosh and everything. You know what I mean? For $25,
Right.
or I can go to freaking the fins.com. I can go to NFL.com/shop and then pay $300 for a jersey that's not signed. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
Exactly.
no, I'm not gonna sit here and I'm already paying you $300 to go watch one game. Like, you should give me a jersey for walking in that damn gate. You know what I mean? I'm a fan of your team. Oh, you're a fan? Okay, here's a jersey. You know what I mean? Oh, who's your favorite player? You know what I mean? Like, you're already making so much money from concessions, from all this other stuff. And then you're like, you know
Right.
what? You know what would even be better is that all of them are gonna come in with the T-shirts, with the, with all the other stuff, with the food, with the drinks. That's how I got my Dak Prescott jersey. I think it was only like, yeah, $25. They're usually about $25, 19 to 20. They're about 25 shipping. That's why you do it in a big order. You and your friends. Then you all can split shipping by like $4 and $5. You get it with a bunch of people, and then everyone pays because it's $25 to ship no matter how many jerseys. You know what I mean? So if you
Right.
get like five, six jerseys and it's only $25 to ship, then you literally just get everyone to what's the name? Yeah, no one's spending $200 on a jersey, Matt. You're right, man. No one is. Like people would do because some people really want. They're all by the book. They're all by. You know what? That's real. That like I don't care where it came from. It's stitched. It's the color scheme. It's my favorite player. Like you can get the black jersey. You can get the camo. The Nike. I mean the salute the services, and they come beautiful. You know what I mean? And these are for $25.
Yep.
Like you're not gonna get me for sitting here and paying you guys $300 when I've already and you don't give me free gains because I'm not in the zone, so I have to try to pay YouTube TV to watch my games. Like, and then you gotta go black market for that too, is to watch games. You know what I mean? So much harder work. It should be like, yo, you're like, I'm already supporting this team by my heart. You know what I mean? Give me that opportunity to get some stuff for free. You know, I should walk in a door and I should be like, you know what? You guys are here to support the Dolphins, or you're here to support the Giants, you're here to support the Cowboys. Here's a jersey on us, man. You know, we appreciate you being here. You know, like
Exactly.
what would it cost you? People would come all the time, and it's like, you know, but I get it. It's a lot of money. If you're 300 times 40,000 people in the crowd, do the math. You know, like I get why they can't do it, but at the same time, I love my team,
Yep.
but you know, I spent less money on a tattoo for the Dolphins than I did for the freaking a jersey if I buy it from NFL.com. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I think I paid like $125 for my Dolphin tattoo. You know, I mean,
You know,
$125,
I mean,
and that's life. That's a life tattoo. So, but yeah, man. If anyone All about the money. That's it. It's always been about that. That's corporation. That's the business side. That's the things that people don't want to realize is that that's why we believe that the NFL is rigged. You know, I mean, that's why we believe it because of
It,
that factor. It's all about the money, man. It's all about the money. You
well,
know.
they showed like a statistic how like there's so much like so many and because it's legal in every almost every state now. Like
Yeah, it
the
is.
betting this year for the Super Bowl like set records. Like
Yeah.
like there was literally like 400 billion bets made that were Super Bowl related.
Yeah.
400 billion
Yeah.
separate bets. And like I can't lie, like I had like 10 bets in.
Yeah.
Like 10 different things. You know what I
So
mean?
you're
So
part of the rigged system. Look at you.
like,
But no, 400 billion. That's what you said.
400 billion different wagers were placed on the
And
Super
and
Bowl.
they said that
So
America
like
was broke.
you know, and like so it's funny. I was doing some analytic stuff on the sports world betting and it's funny how it's changed and like you know it's just like any other type of gambling like the house always wins and this and that
Yeah.
and the odds like never mind like what games are fixed or whatnot but like statistically let's say you used to be able to still make money on teams if they were just you know winning but what they've done is they've done the odds so messed up so like let's say the Boston Celtics right let's say you put $100 just the money line for them to win
Yeah.
every game you know so the payouts are so low because of the money line like if you don't bet it with the spread
Yeah.
that even if you bet with the spread, you still win. You don't win your money back. You win like a certain percentage. So
Yeah.
like the Celtics, let's say they're playing whatever. Their average because they're gonna win probably like let's say 60 games, you
Yeah.
know, which they could, you know. That's 20 games, 22 games over 500. So like you're gonna if you bet them to win every single time, you know, you might win you know, you're going to win 20 games more than you're going to lose.
Yeah.
But because you're only winning like $30 on the $100 bet, when you lose that one game, you're losing like 3 games. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So like over a whole season, I did the thing like even though your team won 22 more games than they lost,
Yeah.
if you bet $100 each game, you would lose about $300
Wow.
throughout the whole season, even though they won 22 more games than they lost.
Wow.
If you just bet them to win, because with the spreads, like it's not always like even the best teams don't always aren't always the best teams against the spreads. And then
Yeah.
historically, the best teams ever against the spreads, like even then, it's like they're not like 5 games. They might be like five. They might be like you know, in an 82 game season, maybe they're you know 40 games, you know, 40 games above the spread. So
Yeah.
therefore, you're still only at 50%. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But even then, you know, if you're just betting it straight up with the spread, you know, it's you know, you bet $100, you're only going to win 90. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So like, even if you're at 500 for the season, you still lose.
Yeah.
So the whole point about betting and the odds and all this other stuff is it doesn't matter who wins one way or the other.
Yeah.
You know, the theories of that, like statistically, you're going to end up losing because whatever you wager, unless you know, yes, you can wager money on like a 4 or 5 bet parlay, but that the odds of you hitting that go down.
Yeah.
So like the payouts are better, but more than likely you're still going to lose. And if you're going to bet an easier bet, you're in the long run you're still going to lose because you're betting more than you can lose. So like,
Yeah.
you know, you're never going to be ahead, never.
Yeah. They know what they're
No,
doing. Like I don't know
well,
how they
you know,
know what they're doing, but
and
like
you know, what it also does is it gives false hope to people too.
yeah.
And that's, you know, that's what gambling is. Like
Yeah.
people people, everyone who comes in and thinks they're going to win it big to help them. No, it's not
No.
about luck. It's not whatever. Like it's false hope. And
Yeah.
there is addiction to that winning feeling. But if
Yeah.
you do the numbers, you're going to lose. Like, I was up big after the Super Bowl, and I cashed out a little bit, but then everything I had left, I eventually lost it all because it's like you're
Yep.
designed to do it.
Yep. If you don't
It's
win right away
a
and
bad
run,
day.
that's it, man. It's what you have to start doing in your head is start doing this thing called, you know, oh, what's it? My brain just blanked. But it's like you have to have like a weekly thing. Like, hey, I want to spend $50 a week, no matter what. And if I win or lose that $50, then I don't care.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because you have to set yourself a limit, like, right? You have to limit yourself to this because you're right. I've won so much in my lifetime, like I'm playing in like slots or something, and then I like if I leave it in there, I'm doomed because I already
Right.
know what I'm gonna do. I say, hey, I didn't really have that money, but I really didn't even need that money, right? In your brain, you say that. Why don't I try to win some more? Because it's like I put $20 in and I won 60. Well, if I get down to 20, then it's like I didn't get anything. I didn't lose anything because it's like I never won anything either. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So now you're sitting there like, oh, but guess what? Now you're like, but I want to get back to that 60 where I was. So you use that last 20 that you had, and now, bam, you're broke because you're probably going to lose that. You know what I mean? So that's the way you have to start thinking in your mind is like, hey, it's okay to go in out there and gamble, but expect to lose. You have to expect to lose because they know they're going to win a lot of these times. You know what I mean? You know how many tickets I put on? Thank God I had a lot of free play with my, better and stuff like that because of that factor. Because if not, I would have been sitting there hoping
There we go.
to win. Yeah.
Like Parker decided that if she can't be on TV, nobody can.
Yeah, I was like, is everything okay over there? But yeah, Matt said that
Yeah.
the tickets are just so damn expensive. Yeah, they are. They really are, Matt. Tickets are just going up and up and up. And if your team's good, it's like, wow. If your team's good, you don't even want them to be good so you can go to a game. You know what I mean? Because if they're good, you already know you're going to pay, you know? You're going to
Yeah.
sit here and go, you know what? You were really good. Why can't the tickets still be the same price? Like, don't you want your fans to be in there? Don't you want? Look at the cat. He's like, yo, what's going on? Hey, hey, cat.
Parker. Parker. Who's gonna win tonight?
Who's gonna win?
Who's gonna win?
Who's gonna win poker?
I don't know. She's
Porker?
being a little camera. Porker. Yeah. She's a
Porker.
fat
Okay.
ass.
Is that her name,
She
or did
loves.
you just call her that?
Her name is Porker. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I should bring Flash in here. He's this damn big. He's bigger than the damn thing.
All
He's like,
right. Let's
meow.
see. Let's see what games we got today. We got the Rangers tonight. They're going to continue their win streak.
Yep, yep. They did the ear thing.
Yeah. Come on. She talks all the time when she's not,
Yeah,
on live TV.
she's camera shy right now.
She's
Look at
camera
her.
shy right
She's
now.
like, look at this is her in the camera.
Hey, Porker, you want cheese? Yeah, she does.
Yeah.
All right.
Go give
You
her some
go
cheese. Go give
hang
her some
out.
cheese. She's like,
Ugh.
what are you asking me?
He's
You
like,
never.
whatever.
Yeah, now she'll meow when you
Right.
walk. Right when you get off the stream, she'll go meow, 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 meow. And you're like, you mother.
Meow, 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 meow. That's it.
Yeah, but no, man.
All
Like,
right.
but yeah, the Rangers play tonight.
All
Lightning play today.
right. Rangers play at 3:00. Lightning play at 2:00. Lightning play the Islanders, who have been up and down this year. I guess they have some talent, but then they blow it late. But it's in Long Island, so we'll see. I like the Lightning. Hopefully they win.
Yeah, they need to. They need
Rangers.
to.
I'll be watching the Rangers and Flyers at 3:00.
Nice.
Let's see. Devils. Fucking Rangers beat the shit out of the Devils the other day. I think, even if you're on a win streak or a lose streak, like when you play the team that eliminated you in the playoffs the previous year, there's always a little extra motivation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You want to fucking be like, you know what? Fuck you. Especially Devils, they're your rivals. You're in the same division. They've been rivals for forever, and it's cool when you have teams that have generational rivalries. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like at least in the last 10 years, the Lightning and the Leafs have a good rivalry, and obviously like
Yeah, they
the
do.
Panthers because division.
Yeah.
But like I don't know, like I've been watching hockey since probably the late '80s, early '90s, and you know the Devils and the Rangers have had such a history. Like they've met so many times in the playoffs, and they just hate each other. And they literally their arenas are 15 minutes away from each other because well they used to be. Yeah, the Devils did move, so I guess it's maybe like 30 minutes away from each other, but still. Like when I first started, the Devils played where the Nets played, which was it's like this big complex in it's in New Jersey, but it's literally like when you are in New York City, you go through the tunnel and then you're in New Jersey, and it's or you go over a bridge and you're in New Jersey, and it's like you get out of that tunnel and it's like right around the corner. And it
Yeah.
was a big complex, and it had the arena that had the Devils and the Nets. You had the football stadium for the Giants and Jets, and then you had a horse track. So like you would go there early, you played you bet on some horses, and then you go to the football game if it was night, or you go to the Devils at night or a
Yeah,
concert
that's
there or
cool.
whatever.
Yeah.
It was a cool little concept. So even though like people who are outside of New York were like, well, the Giants and Jets they're called New York, but they're playing New Jersey. Yeah, technically it's New Jersey, but it's literally like you could fucking throw a rock and hit New York. It's right there,
Yeah.
and they represent that state anyway. So if they want to do New York, New Jersey, like whatever, like the fans don't care. They're still going to be fans.
Yeah.
The whole technicalities and stuff. You get older, you don't give a shit about that stuff. It's like Tampa, St. Pete. Like, people. Well, technically, the Tampa Rays play in St. Pete. Like, it's fucking Tampa. It's the whole fucking area.
Yeah, for
Just
sure.
give it a fucking rap. Like
Yeah.
who cares?
Yeah.
So anyway, basketball. Shit. So I got the Rangers at 3. Oh, the Knicks are the night game. Okay, good. So I get to watch them get their asses kicked at night tonight.
There you go. There you go.
So the Knicks are their prime time, 8:30 at night. Knicks and Celtics. The Magic play the Pistons. Oh, there's only 3 games on the agenda today. That's
Yeah,
pretty
he don't
interesting.
play again for like 2 days. So, because Tyler Hero got hurt at
Well,
the
yeah,
end.
they need. Tyler Hero got hurt.
I don't know if it's like serious, but he like slipped on the court at the end, like
Yeah.
literally like with a minute and a half left. But he walked off. So
We
2 days will probably
so
help him out.
he stretched his mangina there.
He got his mangina. Yeah, that's it. Sometimes it happens.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you and
Hey,
the thing.
hey, listen, sometimes you stretch that taint out you don't want.
Yeah. Oh man, that's
Ugh.
nothing worse than slipping, man. Like that. He felt like I
Yeah.
That's the worst, man.
Oh,
Matt said the
yeah.
Rangers are gonna lose all their games because you heard Sergi.
Oh,
Yeah, you
I
guys
don't
heard
know.
him in that one game. Now he's had to have surgery, so he said the Rangers are toast now. He said it's not
Oh yeah.
it's not right that you
Well,
would
we'll see. We'll see.
that
I don't
your
know if they're
team would
toast,
do
but
that. Yeah.
the way the goalie's been playing, Shusterkin had a rough patch there, but man, he stepped up. Like he was
Yeah.
incredible in the Dallas game. He didn't have to be incredible, but he basically had a shutout for most of the game, and then
Yeah.
after they went up 5-0, he let in a goal. Like whatever,
Yeah.
So so and as a Lightning fan, more than anything, you have a hot goalie. It don't really matter what you got in front of them.
Yeah.
And definitely the Rangers have enough offensive talent in front
Yeah.
of him. I mean, they got guys that could score, and so
Yeah. That's what happens right now.
it's going to be fun. I mean, like I said, it's the playoffs. You just want to get in, and then anything can happen.
For
But
sure. For sure.
I like our chances. I think they're playing really great hockey right now, and I'm going to enjoy it.
Yeah.
The
For
nine in
sure.
a row is nine in a
I,
row is special. Doesn't matter, who you are. You enjoy you got to enjoy those things as a fan because
yeah.
whether it leads to a championship or not, there's going to be points in the season where your team is playing unbelievable. You win 9 in a row, and you just got to enjoy it. I
Yeah.
enjoyed every minute that the Knicks were fucking tearing it up in January until they got hurt, and the
Yeah.
injuries played. But for those 9 games in a row that they won, I was loving it, man. I was
Yeah.
watching great basketball. I was watching the crowd go crazy. I was enjoying watching how good this team was. And, unfortunately, things happen and injuries happen. And then you go through, bad times and rough times. But that's
Yeah.
just part of being a fan, the ups and downs. So, you got to enjoy the ups
Yeah.
because the ups might come in January. It might not come in April when or May when they're doing the championships. That might not be when your ups happen. So enjoy it when it do happens.
Yeah,
We got baseball starting up, pitchers and catchers. I think there's some of the first spring training games happen today.
was it today or yesterday?
Maybe they had some games yesterday.
Yeah, I
Let's
think
see.
so.
Yeah, they did. They had some games
Yeah,
yesterday. Like the first, especially the first few weeks of spring training, like a lot of times it's just minor league guys that are jockeying to hopefully get a spot on a major league squad. But
yeah, for sure.
your top players might get an at bat, or your pitchers might get an inning, something like that. But they don't really do anything until at least 2 weeks into the spring training, and even then they're only going to play half the game. Like the scores in spring training more than any sport, I think, don't matter. Like,
Yeah,
and you're 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 getting into your rhythm of a thing like this. Like I in softball we played spring leagues, but we were competitive and we tried to win. But that was different. Like it was like we were just off all winter. Now we get to actually come out and play.
yeah,
So it was a little bit different than like pros, because now you're just trying to get into shape and get ready for the season, and you want to get some good swings in, you want to do whatever, but it's really just practice. So at the end of the day, they do play games because you want the simulation of playing a game, but like the
yeah,
scores don't matter. They don't
no,
care.
yeah.
They're not paid to win those games. They're paid to win, the regular season
Yeah,
and
I
the
would hope so.
playoffs
I
and
hope
stuff
it's
like
like the
that. So
preseason. You know what I mean? Where they just go out there, they get their rotation, they get their batting swings. It's good to get
mhm.
against a real pitcher. You know what I mean? That's how it's supposed to be. Like yeah, the ball
Yeah,
machine is good. Your coach is good at throwing it, so you can hit. But you want to get that guy who's throwing like sliders and fastballs and stuff like that.
yep.
Also, Matt wants to know if we're gonna start watching the UFL when it comes out.
I don't know. Maybe. There's a lot to start watching now. We're coming into March, so we're going to have March Madness. We're going to be talking a lot about that. We're going to be into NASCAR. Morgan's coming on,
Tomorrow, yes.
right?
Tomorrow he'll be on, yes.
Morgan's coming on
Yeah.
tomorrow. We're going to talk about the Atlanta race. I'm probably not going to lie, probably going to watch that. Let's get into NASCAR this year. Let's do it. And then
Yeah.
once April comes in, we're looking at Major League Baseball opening day. Opening day is always fun, even though the whole season is just a tremendous gauntlet of 162
Yeah.
games. Opening day, you got the Masters, and yes, there's golf going on right now, but Masters that starts the season.
Yeah.
That's the biggest. The big tournament. It starts it
Yeah.
all. I love that's my favorite tournament ever. Every year I try to watch that. So we'll get into a little bit more golf in
Yeah.
April, and then also April. That's when the regular seasons are going to be winding down for hockey and for NBA. So
Yeah.
um, maybe we can keep an eye on that. But if he wants to watch that, if that's his thing, and come on with us and
Yeah.
talk about it, we're all about that. We're all
Yeah,
about
man.
having special guests and
If you want to
special
be
events.
the
So
UFL guy,
personally, I'll be honest, I'm probably not going to watch that stuff
yeah.
because I got a
Matt's really
lot of
good
stuff that
at
I want to.
dissecting
I want
stuff, so I could see him doing that for us. He'll come on and actually discuss the UFL and tell us what's
to.
going
Yeah,
on in teams and things like that. He said, actually, this is to baseball again. He said a lot of stars don't travel when they do the spring training. That's why a lot of those games don't even matter. You know what I mean? Because a lot
well,
of those
yeah, like they
stars,
like you. If you're listen, if you're like a Aaron Judge or a Soto or whatever, and you've got $35 million coming in this year, you don't need to fucking do that shit. You're
yeah,
already established. You don't have to prove yourself to make the team. You could do whatever the
yeah,
fuck you want. You just gotta get your swings in. At this point too, like if you're making that much money, this is not your first spring training. You're probably a veteran. You've probably been in the league at least 5, 6 years already, so you know what your routine is to get into shape, to get into what you got to do.
yeah,
And that's basically it. So
yeah,
your routines. You don't have to travel to do whatever. about fans saying, oh, well, the big stars didn't want to come travel to the. No, it's spring training. It doesn't mean anything. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So,
for
like,
sure.
just get over it. It's like I said, it's just to get the guys that are already established stars. They know what they have to do to get into shape to play. This
Yeah,
this isn't their first rodeo. They've done this for their whole lives. And as some of the, it's really kind of just guys want to fill out their rosters, like who's going to be on the bench, who's going to be still developing in the minors, who's going to be coming up. So a lot of the coaches and stuff, they're doing stuff in the off season as far as scouting and stuff like that. Now this is the first chance that they have to actually see these guys live. So like
yeah,
there's a lot on the managers and the organization to make decisions about, okay, these guys are here, we can keep him up on the roster, or we can put this guy down or whatever. But the guys that you already know who your established lineup is, like you already know, okay, this guy's
yeah,
here, this guy's here, this guy's here. You're like, nobody's gonna steal their job. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Because even if somebody plays incredible and has a potential to steal their job, you're paying this guy, hundreds of millions of dollars. So you're not going to give this guy who's making, he might be incredible, and you keep an eye on him and you watch him develop, and then maybe at some point you make that switch. But
yeah.
if you're paying this guy $100 million in spring training, he ain't losing his job.
No,
Yeah.
no.
So
Yeah.
you know,
Matt said he's more of an MLB guy, so if we need anybody with baseball talk, that's where he wants to go.
well,
So,
I was a big MLB guy until
yeah,
the last couple of years with a lot of the changes that happened,
yeah,
and part of it is, like I said, it's just I get that the development of players now has changed. So
yeah,
from when obviously 20, 30 years ago when I was, developing as a baseball player,
yeah,
obviously, like, what they work on and their fundamentals is completely different. So the game has modified to that, and maybe that I don't want to say that I'm bitter, but it's just like I felt like it was a simpler game back when I played, and like you didn't need rules like that because the things that we worked on were different. We
yeah,
weren't talking about launch angles and always trying to hit home runs. As a matter of fact, like we hitting home runs, like you never tried for a home run unless you were 2-0 or 3-1, and then you could try and lock in and
yeah,
really give it a good swing. But like generally, home runs were not you trying to hit a line drive. You weren't trying to hit the ball up, because if you didn't get enough on it and it stayed in the park, it was an out.
yeah,
Um,
for sure.
if you got two strikes on you, you're not trying to hit the ball hard. You're trying to put the ball in play. You're trying to
Yeah,
hit a hole, trying to hit a gap. If a shift was on, you were hitting the ball the other way. And like things like stolen bases and hit and run plays and all that stuff, that was all part of the game. Like that just, and then all
yeah,
of a sudden, analytics said, you know what? Statistically, if you get on base, whether it's walking by seeing a lot of pitches or whatever, and you
yeah,
don't steal, you have a higher percentage chance of scoring. So then they just kind of changed a lot of that stuff. And as players, you don't care. You're doing what the coach tells you to do. So if the coach doesn't tell you to steal, you're not going to steal.
yeah,
Um, and then this year, all of a sudden, it changed. Like because with the rules in place, and they had some more incentives for them stealing. They wanted them. Also, like if you're doing a shift, you're not going to steal because now you have two guys that are behind you. You know what I mean?
yeah,
What was interesting is if you had a shift and you had a guy on second, I'm surprised they didn't steal every fucking time, because
yeah,
there was nobody covering third. But again, that's just how the game has changed.
yeah.
Um,
Matt said
like I
the
said,
same
playing
thing.
slow pitch softball, a lot of the rules that we had to put in place because guys would, with the technology and stuff, like you had to put certain rules in place. Um, they kind of implemented that with like people used to shift all the time in softball, and then they said you couldn't do it at a certain point. So now they're doing that in baseball.
Yeah,
Baseball, they made the bags bigger to protect players from sliding and the whole stealing thing. Like I, I don't know. Like that part of me still is like, well, the smaller bases is fine. The bigger bases is fine, but like it doesn't really help one way or the other. Like, yeah, you don't want to get spiked, but that was kind of part of the game. Like if you're gonna try and stop someone from stealing, you had to take
yeah,
the risk of someone's metal cleats coming at you. but like guys were so talented that you could just bam, bam, and then tag it and whatever. And
Yeah.
now I guess they feel like sliding head first is more exciting. So now everybody slides head first. But back when I played, cool thing to do was to slide and then kickstand. It
Yeah.
was just so like you slid and stood up in one
Yeah.
motion. Like you would slide right in the bag and stand right up. And nobody does that anymore. Everything's the whole sliding and then trying to move your hands to get the base, and avoid the tag. I mean, but like back
Well,
in the
that's
day,
why
you
they do
slid
it,
and you just
because it's
you're right.
easier way to grab
But
and
now
get the
you're
bag. You know what
dead.
I
So
mean?
now it's just like
But the kickstand is
So
probably the coolest slide because he's got 1 foot out, 1 foot like kind of kneed in, and then he just pops right up, like right onto the bag. But yeah, it doesn't have like
I
that.
practice I used to scrape up my knees trying to practice how to do
Yeah,
that, and I never
it's
could.
hard.
So
Yeah,
I did not have that athletic ability. Like I
yeah,
could hit the shit out of the ball, and I would slide, and I'd slide feet first, whatever, or I think there was only once ever I did a head first slide. But it was just because I was running and my fat ass was leaning over forward. It was more of a fall than a slide forward.
yeah,
But I was just like, all right, I'm not going back now, you know.
yeah. I
But
remember doing that when I was a kid. I slid forward. I think I knocked myself out. I don't remember even.
yeah, I did slip. Well, I also there was one time I was playing. I actually messed up my heel pretty bad. I got some plantar fasciitis from it. We
Wow.
played in this old because sometimes in softball you're playing in old beat up fields like behind schools and stuff, and there
Yeah.
was this home plate that was literally sticking up off the because they would mold home plate into a piece of concrete, but the edge of the home plate was up, so I slid into it and my cleat caught the part that was up, and it actually ripped the home plate off the cement. And the damage it did to my heel, I hurt. My heel was hurting for like years after that.
Yeah.
From that thing, like I probably did some damage, but whatever. You walk it off. I did find out I had plantar fasciitis a few years after that when I finally had it looked at. Because when you're young, like it hurts, but you just whatever, you play it off, and once you start stretching it out and playing, you're fine. It's just after you sleep, you wake up and all of a sudden you're just like, oh god, this hurts like hell.
Yeah. For sure, for sure. But yeah,
So
Matt was saying the same thing. He said, "Yeah, I was taught to slide feet first, more chance of injury going head first, for sure, for sure."
yeah,
Like you said,
but
it's tough. I
nowadays
remember I
that's all
was,
they do is they go the head first because they want that whole,
yeah.
you know,
Well, even
and now
like
you
you
have a
said,
bigger bag.
yeah,
So it's
that's what
like,
I'm saying.
okay, it's like if we get there at the same time, now it's 50-50 whether I can get my hand on the bag and avoid your tag.
Yeah.
You know,
So it doesn't have to just
so
touch space anymore. Like if you're stealing, it has to touch player.
yeah, no, you still have to touch the player. No,
Wow.
well, you have to. As the player, you got to get the bag
Yeah,
before
yeah.
they tag you.
Okay, so if it's a steal, ball has to touch player. If it's a
Yeah,
run, then bag just has to be touched by the. I mean, foot just has to be touched by the bag or whatever. You know what I mean? Then you can throw it to
if the
first
ball
for
is in
double play.
play,
Yeah. Okay.
it's considered a force. So
Okay.
like you have to catch the ball onto the thing. But if it's a steal, you have to tag the
Okay. I want to
guy.
make sure. You know what I mean? Because like I don't know if the rules that like when I played it was literally I remember I can't I haven't played since I was young. You know what I mean?
Some
So
of those the basic rules they live as far as like when
okay.
you have to tag a person and when
Yeah.
you are forced out, that
Okay.
hasn't changed. I mean,
That's
and
why I want to make
basically what
sure.
it means is if
Yeah.
there's somebody behind you,
Yeah.
then
The bag
it's a
just touched.
force.
Okay.
There's no like there's even though like yeah, listen, you're sliding into second and it's a bang bang play. You have to tag the guy, but technically you could still go back to that bag because there's nobody occupying it, so it's not a
Yeah.
force.
Okay. Okay.
If
Okay.
the ball's in play, if you're on first base and the ball's in play, and you're going to second, you can't go back to first because now
No.
there's somebody going to first.
Yeah.
So it's a force play. They only have to catch the ball and have their foot on the
Okay.
thing.
Okay. Okay.
You
Just
know?
like when they hit it when they go to first base. So
Right.
like it's a four.
Yeah.
Okay. Makes sense. Makes sense. Like I said, I haven't played in years. I haven't watched baseball in years. Like I said,
And
to me, it's
I used to like listen. Obviously, I grew up a baseball fan. Like you love the home runs, but now the home runs are just everything. Like
yeah.
everybody hits home runs, and it's interesting. Judge had the whatever 62 a couple of years ago, but
Yeah.
like nobody's touched the Barry Bonds mark,
Barry
and
Bonds was a stud,
but yeah,
man.
but like teams in general are like hitting more home runs. Like
Yeah.
okay, it's like individuals aren't touching those marks, but
Yeah.
like you're gonna have a team of 9 guys, and like 6 of them might hit over 20 home runs,
Yeah.
which is incredible. You know what I mean? Like to have like 6 or 7 guys in a lineup that can hit 20 home runs, and like almost every team has that. It's also more acceptable now to, um, because of the analytics, it's more acceptable to strike out and have a low batting average if you can hit 20, 25 home runs. Like
Yeah.
I never, and it's not, people will say, well, the pitching is better. It is,
Yeah.
but you know, guys aren't shortening up their swing and trying to get base hits.
Right.
There's because analytics will say, well, you can, if you hit the ball hard, there's a chance you can hit into a double play. If you strike out, that's only 1 out.
Yeah.
So you still have the chance to the next guy to try and hit a home run. And risk versus reward. The next guy comes up and hits a 2-run home run. Otherwise, like if the other guy put the ball in play and hits into a double play, obviously you're out of the inning type of deal.
Yeah.
So the analytics, that's what they go with. And, to me, it's kind of takes away from it. I like the risk reward,
Yeah.
um, so I, like, I don't understand. I don't think personally, like I would be okay if I was a professional player and I could hit, 30 home runs, but my batting average is like a buck 25. Like I'd be embarrassed if my
Yeah.
batting average was a buck 25. I would feel like I don't deserve to be in Major League Baseball if I could survive at like under 200 batting
Yeah.
average. And nowadays it's perfectly acceptable for that to happen as long as you can pump out 30 home runs, which stadiums, a lot of stadiums make it easier. Like they brought the fences in, they did whatever. And actually, one of the interesting things last year was Baltimore actually put their left field out more. They actually extended it, so it made it harder for people to hit home runs. But with all the power in the AL East, like with Boston, the Yankees, and the Tampa,
Yeah.
that's why Baltimore had such an advantage. Man, they tore it up. They won the division. They had a great regular season because they basically made their stadium so that way when these visitors with the big power guys came in, they couldn't hit all these home runs. So like guys would it would be like that center field in Boston where their big power hitters are coming up, and it would
Yeah.
be out in every other ballpark in the league, and it was just a fly out. You know what I mean? Baltimore actually went a little old school in defense and backed the fences up, and it worked to their advantage. And
Yeah.
they had some young power guys that could hit it opposite way, and that's the lefties is where you could hit home runs in that ballpark, but the
Yeah.
righties did you were hitting it into nowhere.
Yeah.
So there was, that was a good strategy by Baltimore because Camden Yards used to be like anybody would come in and hit home runs in that yard. It was a big time home run hitters ballpark, and all these other teams would come in and beat up on them. And now it was like, okay, well we're going to back it up. And now because there is still a lack of lefty power in the in Major League Baseball, which is why I don't understand how certain guys that actually have lefty power aren't signed yet. But
Yeah.
whatever.
But yeah, Matt
Uh,
also said Stanton is a strikeout or home run pretty much every bat, and it said it shouldn't be
Stanton.
it shouldn't be
He's,
acceptable.
he's you know what though, guys like Stanton though have always been in the league.
Yeah.
That hasn't changed. And but you need, like, teams used to have one of those guys, but Stanton still hits about 250, 260 normally.
Yeah.
So like you need that guy. He's usually your big guy. He's in the middle of the lineup. The problem with the Yankees, they have like 3 of them. You have Judge.
Yeah.
Judge can hit. He can hit for average. He can hit for power. His thing is staying healthy.
Yeah.
The guy is one of the best players in the league. He won an MVP for a reason.
Yeah.
Not just because, but I mean, yeah, he hit 62 home runs, but he also hit close to 300, and he'll steal a base. He'll dive in the outfield. He's a really good glove out in the outfield. So he's an incredible player. But
Yeah.
Stan is your typical home run hitter. Like he might go through a whole month where he's batting like 200, but then all of a sudden he gets hot, and anything near the plate, he's fucking crushing it.
Yeah. For sure.
And that's what those guys do. So you've always had guys like that in the league. They go through streaks. They're hot and cold, but when they're hot, they can carry you. So It's okay to have one of those guys on the team, but like when you have a guys, a whole roster of guys like that, it's like, wow,
Yeah, no,
it's
for sure,
interesting.
for sure. They also want to
But
sit
yeah, we'll get
there.
more into baseball. Baseball's been pretty, it's cool. It's like everyone's just coming in. They're doing their pitchers and catchers, and they're having their games and like whatever. We'll
Yeah,
get into that, especially opening day. We'll see how guys look in spring training. It doesn't really tell you much because there's been guys who it's like, oh man, this guy had a terrible spring training, and then an opening day, the guy hits fucking like 4 home runs.
yeah, yeah. It
I think
happens.
Stanton did that the other one year. Stanton, came out of the gate 2 home runs opening day, and then like 2 home runs the next day. He had 4 home runs in 2 games, and then
Yeah, they said
he
Judge
started out.
almost won MVP.
And that's the thing. And then people make such a big deal. Oh, like last year. Oh man, the Rays are setting records. Blah blah blah. The first 2 weeks of the season, it's like, bro, it's the first 2 weeks of the season.
I
Like
know.
it doesn't.
It was cool. It
Yeah,
was
but it's
cool.
great to watch. And then by the All Star break, like they had built a big league in first place, and by the All Star break, they were in second. And then they did make the playoffs, but they never
No,
surpassed
I
Baltimore.
don't
Like
know. I don't know what the hell happened there, but yeah,
I'm telling you, Major League Baseball is really like a month to month season.
yeah,
You have like, each month you go through it, and like, it's just a long thing, and you got to start. You can have a hot month and just do great, and that may eventually get you to the playoffs. But
yeah,
what it really comes down to, because of the because they've added so many play-ins and so many rounds, and now so many teams can get in, it's who's hot at the right time.
yeah,
You obviously you can put things together like, okay, you need a good starting pitchers, you need a really good bullpen, and you have a certain lineup, whatever. But at the end of the day, it's just who gets hot at the right time.
yeah, for sure.
Texas was playing, and guess what? They got hot and they just rolled through everybody. And then like when you're hot and you're playing good, you're so confident that you just keep going with it, and they
Yeah,
eventually work their way to a title. Like that's just how it happens. Like the last few years, the reason like Houston's always there is because they have such a good team. They get there. They usually have a top record, and now it's like once you've been there a bunch of times in a row, you know what the drill is. You know how
yeah,
to do it, and you know how to get hot. So, they've had success,
ah,
doing it that way. And so Texas, Houston, they both did it the same type of way. They got hot at the right time. Atlanta, a few years back, they got hot at the right time. So a lot of the times it's you could be one of the best teams in the regular season, or you could just get in as a playing team. It's becoming more and more like hockey because momentum in baseball switches with the next day's starting pitcher. As long as you have a good guy and if the guys all of a sudden find something or figure something out at the last minute, and you got a hot pitcher, then that's gonna help roll. And so analytics will only help you so far, but it's really about getting hot at the right time. So whoever wins the World Series nowadays,
Houston
it,
cheats.
it's really not. It's really not necessarily the best team in
Yeah,
baseball. It's really just the hottest team in
yeah,
baseball at that time. So kudos to baseball because that brings a lot of different fan bases into it. It makes it more of a level playing field where teams don't dominate from the beginning of the year to the World Series. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Um, most sports, I think, strive for that, but sometimes special players and special circumstances, like in the NFL with the Chiefs, that starts to happen. And the NFL, it's kind of interesting how the NFL for years was known as one of the most diverse leagues as far as competitiveness, but
yeah,
yet we've had more dynasties. We've had more dynasties in the NFL than any other
yeah,
of the four major sports in
yeah,
recent history. I mean, I guess if you want to say Houston's kind of a dynasty, but not really. They've won 2 World Series, but and they've been there a couple of times, but even though they're in the mix a lot, they don't always win. You know what I
yeah,
mean? So it's not like every single time. And like in the NBA, we've had a different champion now for I think six straight years.
Yeah.
I can't. The Warriors were the last time to win back to back. It was when they won their 3 out of 4.
Yeah.
Then they lost to Toronto, so then Toronto was the champs, and then they had the bubble year, and there was the Lakers, and then it was the Bucks, and then the Warriors, and then last year was who won last year?
The Nuggets, Denver Nuggets.
The Nuggets.
Yeah.
So you've literally had like 6 different champions the last 6 years.
Yeah.
Stanley Cup. The last, I mean, the Lightning had the back-to-back.
Yeah, that was the last time I remember since the Blackhawks or something like that.
Right.
Chicago
so,
Blackhawks.
And in NHL, like.
And they don't even consider the Lightning a dynasty.
It's happened in recent history where teams have won back-to-back. The Penguins did it. The Lightning's done it. But it's not like you don't have a lot of that. You know what I mean?
No.
So like, and after that, it's not like the fact that the Lightning made it 3 years in a row is pretty damn incredible.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Eventually, they lost to the Avalanche, and then even then, the Avalanche were a much better team, but they still took them 6 games. You know what I mean? Heart of a champion. You got to take them out. But even that, now the Lightning are older. They're still good, and they still have a shot. Don't get me wrong, but they're like you even said, they're older. They don't have a lot of young guys on it.
No.
So
well, now they're getting too young. So the older guys, they only have 3 people out of the championship teams, which is pretty Kuch, it's like Kuch, Vasky, Sergey, the team is depleted from what the championship was. There's a couple of people that play Tyler Johnson is gone. Paulette, I don't know how to say his last name, but he's gone. Goodrow's gone. There's a lot of players that were on those teams that were really good pieces. What the heck is his name? The little guy. He plays for the Kraken now because they took him. Yanni Gord. He was a humongous piece. And Blake Coleman, he was a huge piece. These guys were there that were coming in there to win those. Now you got Point at the front of the net, which is good because he knows how to score there. But back in the day, you had Killorn is gone. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people that were big parts of this. Yeah, Yanni Gord was awesome. And then
here's the thing about the NHL. Okay, yes, you've had back-to-back champions with the Lightning, and you have back-to-back champions with the Penguins quite a few years ago. But here's the thing. 16 teams are going into the tournament. You know what I mean? 8 on each side. Every single one of those teams have a pretty much pretty much have the same odds to actually win the whole thing.
Yeah.
There are your favorites and there are your underdogs to a degree. But like I said, the sad part is statistically the team out of the 16 that has the least percentage chance to win the whole thing is usually the team that had the number 1 seed, had the most points.
Yep.
If you look at the teams throughout history in the NHL that finished with the best overall record and won the cup, it's only happened 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
And it's only happened, I think, since 1990. So no, we're going back 30 plus years. It's only happened, I think, 3 times.
Yeah, that's crazy. You're telling me?
No, maybe
maybe
more. I'm probably wrong with that. It's probably only been 3 or 4, but still, you're talking about 30 years of Stanley Cup Finals and 4 or 5 where the number 1 team actually won the cup. There's only 3 off the top of my head that I can remember: the Blackhawks, the Rangers, and the Red Wings. That 2001, 2002 Red Wings team, which I feel, in my history of watching the NHL, was probably the best most dominant team. They didn't set records for the most points ever, but that was the most incredible team I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I'm sure there was teams in the early 80s that were probably just even better, and there's fans older than me that could say well, this team, the Islander teams that won 4 in a row, this and that. Okay, I don't remember those teams. You know what I mean? I was too young. I didn't really start watching hockey until I was a teenager.
Yeah, me too.
So, but as as far as the teams that I've personally watched, that team was incredible because they
Yeah.
already had an incredible team with Steve Yzerman and Fedorov and all these others, and then they get Dominic Hasek is probably one of the greatest goalies ever to lace them up. And then they had, they had the Colorado Avalanche who had just won a bunch of cups and Patrick Roy, and like that was an incredible team, and they were still able
Yeah.
to beat them and overcome them, and like they had such a fierce rivalry back then. Oh man, that team was so freaking good. But that was it. And then like the Blackhawks in 2008 or whatever, they had the number one seed and they won the cup. I think that was the last one.
Yeah,
Now
no, the
these teams,
President Trophy is a fucking curse, man. It really
I
is.
know, Lightning had it, and then
You got
now here's the one thing though. These guys, these teams, they win the President's Trophy. They end up losing in the first round.
yeah,
Happened to the Lightning, and then it happened to the Panthers. Um, and then they end up making the finals the following year.
yeah,
That's where I'm kind of looking at the Boston Bruins. Like they set that record. They had an incredible regular season last year. Then
yeah.
they lose in the first round.
We'll
If
see.
history repeats itself,
Yeah,
then they might make. I'm not saying they're going to win because the Panthers lost, but they could make the finals
yeah, no.
this year.
Uh,
I hope they don't. Obviously, I'm rooting for the Rangers. You're rooting for the Lightning,
yeah,
but
we'll see. We'll see if history.
we'll see
Because I
how
remember, what's that trophy after the win before you go to the Stanley Cup? Do you get that? What the hell is that trophy called?
Oh well, there's one for the East and one for the West, right?
Yeah, and you're not supposed to touch it. Because that's like bad
Oh
luck.
yeah.
So like the Lightning went all over there and touched it, and then I'm like, no, but they ended up winning the Stanley Cup that year. But you're not supposed to touch that trophy, and they were like literally
Well,
holding it.
apparently, the
I'm
other
like,
big thing is if you win the cup, you're not supposed to damage it, and there's been quite a few teams that
they get drunk.
have
They get,
the draft.
I
Well,
remember
someone grabbed it
Prince of
during the
Wales.
ceremony, and they dropped it, and it was
Yeah,
like dented.
I
Like,
think that was what's the name? That was the Big Rig. Big Rig did that. He
yeah,
dropped it. Yeah,
yeah.
dude. I
I mean, it's
remember.
got to be heavy, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, Big Rig. He dropped that
uh,
thing right away. They bring it to their home country and they eat shit out of it. Like it's.
I did get to see the Stanley Cup at one point.
Did you go to the at the Hard Rock when they brought it there? I went to it.
No, it was no, it was in New York.
Oh, okay.
It was one of the Rangers ones. So this is a long
Yeah,
time ago, obviously.
Patrick
90. It was
Maroon.
94, and like we couldn't get close to it to take a picture. It
Yeah,
was just like it was when they had the parade. So we went in for the parade, and like you can get like close to it, whatever. So I
yeah,
got to see it up close, like, and
yeah.
that thing is like big, and it's got to be pretty heavy.
It's
Like I don't
huge,
know, like
man. I think the first time I seen it live before it came to the Hard Rock and we got to take a picture with it was when me and my friend that worked at the Hard Rock, we went to their ceremony and they came
mhm.
walking by us and we were right there and everyone was touching it. I touched it. I touched it
Oh, nice,
in the
nice.
parade. Yeah, they're like, you can't touch it. I'm like, fuck you. And this is like during COVID too. Like everybody's like
Wow.
bunched up. No one gives a fuck. And we're touching the fucking thing. We're excited as fuck. Fucking Kuchera is drunk as a skunk and he's out there kissing the owner on the cheek and shit. He's lit. Like,
Funny.
yeah, man, they had a good time, man. Everyone is.
I
Chernak got no teeth. He's like, it's like, these guys are
What's
sucking.
interesting about the cup is obviously you keep it, and then the
Yeah.
next year you got to give it back.
Yeah.
You know, so like I've been to the Giant Stadium, and you could see their Lombardi trophies like in a fan area, whatever. Like you just see them.
Yeah,
Like
those are
lined up
always
and,
going to be there. That's cool.
right.
Yeah.
And then I did a behind the scenes stadium tour for the Yankees, and that's incredible. So like you have in the back, you have the Monument Park, but then if you go in the back, you just all the fucking 27 fucking championships, fucking just in this like
Yeah.
big fucking wall. You know,
Yeah.
that was incredible.
That's the only thing I
You know?
dislike about the NHL is that when the trophy leaves, it's not there anymore.
So,
That's why they have banners.
it's like
It's
I get it, but
Yeah.
at the same time, that's incredible because you get like everybody who wins gets that same trophy, and you
yeah,
just get your name in
yeah.
it. Like
It says 60
feel like-
years. It holds on.
Right.
Every 60 years, one person falls off. That's
Right.
how it does it.
and then, well, they they get moved to the bands, and then the
Yeah.
band comes off, and
Yeah.
then the band goes into the Hall of Fame. So if you've seen the Hall of Fame, like the
Oh, that's
band is
cool. I didn't
huge.
know that. I didn't know about the
Yeah.
band. I
So
just knew that because they go, "Oh, my name's gonna be on there for 60 years." Isn't that crazy? 60 years.
well, yeah, and then what happens is like I said, they remove the bottom band, and then it goes into the Hall of Fame. So like the Hall
Oh,
of Fames, they actually have rebuilt it. It's like this huge fucking
yeah, that's
cup,
cool.
in the
Yes.
Hall of Fame. So
Yeah, no, it's
um,
beautiful, man. That trophy is it's
it,
so
it
historical. That's what it is. Because like they're like, oh,
right,
it's going to Tampa, and then they won back to back. It's like, guess what? It ain't leaving Tampa. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
that's the cool thing. That's so fucking
it's
cool.
right. No, it's that's part of like there's certain things that the NHL does that is just like special. They know how to pay homage to everything, and their
Yeah,
championship is the most memorable. Even though they might not be the most popular like sport
yeah,
compared to some of the other ones, I think they're more. Well, I don't know about baseball right now, but in general, they're not as popular as the other three major sports in America. But their cup is world, like everybody knows what the Stanley Cup is. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
and it oh, now you want to talk, whatever. So they know what the cup is, and the fact that that's the same trophy that every team wins since the beginning of the sport. They also do stuff to kind of commemorate and and like their original six teams. Like whenever they play, they make it out like, hey, this is the original six matchup. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like they kind of point those things out. Like, hey, these are this is the foundation of our league. These teams. So it's pretty cool the way they do their history and stuff like that. And like through the years, they've made changes to their rules, but not quite as much as some of the other ones. It's like they don't do changes to dramatically affect how the game is played.
yeah,
The biggest change they do is they did the regular season with the shootouts and giving the teams the point, and then the change in the overtime, which is fine for the regular season. But then they go straight back to the original way for the playoffs because that's the way it's going to be. The other thing is that at one point, like they changed the two line pass, like because that used to be if you passed the puck between two lines and you weren't offsides, it was still there was a two line pass. But these guys are so fast and so talented that as the athletes became better, you were really hurting their speed and hurting the play of the game if you didn't open up the two line pass. If they ever open up off sides, then scoring is going to be like 12-10. But
yeah,
but you have to kind of keep that in check for a little bit, and I don't have a problem with offsides, except when I was younger and I would play the NHL games on video games, and it's like it was so hard to you had to turn the offsides off because if you're only controlling one guy, you couldn't always control your other guys from doing offside. So you get called for an offside penalty, every single time, and
yeah. No,
it
they're
made the game
really.
harder.
The game's gotten good because I've been playing. Me and Matt have played NHL a lot because we just used to do that thing where we like paid half the game and shared it or whatever.
Oh,
But
right, right,
it's
right.
so fun, man. If you get to create your player, like what you do is that when you're
Oh yeah,
going into like a rotation like that, you have to kind of like stop before unless it's just you by yourself because you're right. I don't know how they do it in real life, man. I don't know how they're like literally like right on their toe line or the foot line. They're so quick with it. They shoot into the freaking zone and they're
I would
literally
say how I don't know what it's like to be a professional athlete, but I do know that if you practice and work at something constantly,
yeah.
that and if you're part of a team, like
Yeah.
that stuff becomes second nature. So
Yeah.
them stopping before now, obviously they don't always do it because offsides happens in every single game. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? But that's something that you work on and you try really hard not to do. So like you stopping at a certain point in the ice when you've been doing this your whole life, like you just where to stop. Like you probably
Yeah.
don't even have to think about it. You just know when to stop. It's just
Yeah.
it happens like the puck's moving and people are moving so fast that you're gonna have offsides. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So or somebody's going in a direction and then like someone gets hit while they make a pass and you can't always
Yeah.
do that. But generally, if you have the puck and you're going up, you know where to stop. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
and you're just in synchro. And it's not even just where to stop. Like you're in position, so that way once the puck goes across, you're still hanging back to make sure that you try to keep the puck in the thing. You don't
Yeah.
want it going out, so it creates an offside.
Yeah.
So like those are things that as a professional athlete or anything, they've literally been doing this since Pee Wee. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you've been doing the same. It's like me counting out money to somebody. I've done it so many times that yes, I could make a mistake, which
Yeah.
hopefully I don't. But like for the most part, like I have those mannerisms. I have those. Like my body knows how to do every single thing like that. Like because I've been
Yeah.
doing it for so long.
Yeah. For
So if
sure.
you're a professional athlete and that's the what you do, you're gonna be so good at it. It's like in baseball, like stretching out and hitting how to hit a ball like that's here or here, or like your mechanics for your swing, that's not going to change. Like
Yeah.
you have that down, you have that memorized. So you've been doing it your whole life, so
Makes sense.
I actually saw a good thing, a really awesome thing about it was Pete Rose and A-Rod in a broadcast talking about hitting and like obviously like they're both retired and they're both known as cheaters, which is hilarious that
Yeah.
they're having this awesome baseball conversation. And Pete Rose was talking about how, like, look, he's like, you don't change your swing. He's like, but what you can do is if you need to make an adjustment, where you stand in the batter's box. He's like, but you don't change your actual swing because that's what got you to the major leagues. He's
Yeah.
like, but like, if someone's pitching me inside, maybe I need to stand a foot back in the batter's box so I can get to that inside pitch. Or, if somebody's doing whatever, I can adjust, I can stand up in the box, I can stand back in the box, I can whatever. He's like, but your actual swing, you don't want to change
Yeah.
because that's your mechanics. He's like, you've already got to the majors on your swing. Why am I going to change my swing now because someone's pitching me differently?
For sure.
I can
For
make
sure.
an adjustment with my feet, and I can make an adjustment with where I stand in the box, but I'm not going to change how I swing the bat.
Yeah.
And it's true. Like if you watch some of these greatest hitters of all time, their swings don't change. They just, like you might not even notice, but like they might be like, okay, this guy's pitching me inside. I'm gonna take a little bit of a step back, in the
Yeah.
batter's box. Like he's not like in the same position in the batter's box. So now when that gets that inside pitch, my swing's still gonna be the same, but now I'm gonna get, instead of getting jammed up on the bat, I'm gonna actually get the barrel on the bat
Yeah. For sure.
and hit it good that way. So
But yeah,
I
man.
used to love it. I used to love when I was batting lefty. I used to love it when people would try and pitch me inside, especially if it was low, because I was going to golf it right out. I was just going, oh, goodbye. That was my power, It
Yeah.
was just
You're waiting for that
swinging up.
pitch. Oh,
Ah, worker.
Porker, what are you doing? It's like
You want to talk now? Yeah.
you want the cheese.
She
Meow.
wants to. Probably wants to go out.
Yeah. But yeah, man.
Oh
We
well, we're
appreciate
live.
everybody. We're live. We're live. We can end it.
We're live, but we can get going for now.
Yeah, we went on for an hour and a half almost. So hey, that's awesome, man. We appreciate everyone coming in and giving us questions. We hope to do a little later or more people come on in the morning. I'm down for anything. So we do appreciate you guys, and we'll end this live. And we love you all, and we will
Yep.
make sure to
We
see
will
you guys
still.
tomorrow. Morgan will be on. We won't be live
Yep.
tomorrow, but we'll definitely have Morgan posted up here talking some NASCAR with us. So we appreciate you
Yeah,
guys.
maybe every Saturday we'll do our live shows. So
Yeah, I'm about it.
we'll be looking
It's fun.
forward to doing live next week, and then who
Yep.
knows? I think this was really good, but it'll still be up later for you guys to enjoy later.
Yep.
For Porker,
Porker.
Dave, where's your dog? He didn't come here today.
Yeah, he's right here.
Oh, he is.
He's right here. Come up. Come up. There he is. Hey, buddy, there's Ryder. Look at the camera.
Ryder and Porker.
Ryder and Porker.
We are a pet friendly podcast.
We are pet friendly. Look. Yeah, he's like, yes.
All right.
Well, thank you, everybody.
All right,
We appreciate you. We had a fun time, and we were live, and we'll be live Saturday, and tomorrow we'll catch you with the NASCAR. So everyone have a good day. And we're
Have a good
out.
one.